When I came home from a peaceful vacation in Thailand, I didn't expect police cars in my driveway, strangers in my living room, or my keys not working. But the worst part came when the HOA president smiled and calmly told the officers, "He doesn't live here anymore." 2 weeks earlier, I'd been standing barefoot on warm sand, watching the sun sink into the ocean somewhere off the coast of Phuket. For the first time in years, my phone was silent. No work emails, no client emergencies, no HOA notices taped to my door. Just waves, street food, and a sense that life was finally quiet. I had planned the Thailand trip carefully. My consulting job burned me out, and I needed distance. I set my mortgage on autopay. My HOA dues were already paid months in advance. I paused mail delivery and hired a lawn service so no one could claim my house looked neglected. Everything was handled, or so I thought. Back home, my neighborhood was governed by Pinehurst Estates HOA, and its president, Karen Wilkinson, was infamous. She was the type who measured grass with a ruler and sent warnings over mailbox colors. Charcoal gray instead of slate gray had once earned me a violation notice. I ignored most of her nonsense, assuming it was harmless power tripping. Before leaving, I received one final email from her about community standards compliance. I didn't even open it. I was boarding a plane to Thailand, not prison. I never imagined that while I was admiring temples and eating pad thai, someone was dismantling my entire life from the inside out. After 14 hours of flying, jet lag wrapped around my brain like fog. I dragged my suitcase into the Uber and gave my home address. Seeing my neighborhood again felt grounding. Familiar trees, familiar houses, familiar streets. Then we turned into my driveway. A police cruiser sat directly in front of my garage. My first thought was that someone had broken in while I was gone. My second thought was that the lawn service had done something wrong. But when I stepped out of the car, I saw a family standing on my porch. A man, a woman, and 2 kids. They were holding grocery bags like they'd just come home. To my home. I rolled my suitcase up the driveway and said, "Excuse me, what's going on?" Both officers turned toward me immediately. One of them put a hand near her belt. "Sir, step back," she said. "This property belongs to these homeowners." I laughed because shock makes you stupid. "No, it doesn't. This is my house." The woman on the porch clutched a set of keys. My keys. The officer asked for my ID. I handed over my passport because it was the only thing not buried in luggage. My hands were shaking. "These homeowners called us," the officer said, "because they reported someone trying to break into their residence." My stomach dropped. The man on the porch frowned. "We bought this house 2 weeks ago. We moved in yesterday." That's when the world tilted sideways. I tried to push past them, but the officers blocked me. I looked through the front window instead. My couch was gone. My television was gone. The photos of my parents, my graduation, my entire life, gone. In their place were unfamiliar couches, cardboard boxes, and children's toys. It looked like a staged home listing, not the place I'd lived for 6 years. I felt like I was floating outside my body. "I never sold this house," I said, louder now. "Check the records. Check anything." The officers exchanged looks. One of them said, "Sir, if you have documentation, you'll need to take this up in court." Court. I was being escorted off my own driveway like a criminal while strangers locked my door behind me. That's when a white SUV pulled up behind the police car. And Karen stepped out. Karen Wilkinson looked exactly the same as always. Perfect hair. Clipboard tucked under her arm. That tight smile that never reached her eyes. "Oh, good," she said loudly. "You're back." I spun toward her. "What did you do?" She ignored me and addressed the officers. As I explained earlier, this property was abandoned. HOA fees were unpaid for months. The board followed proper legal procedures. "That's a lie," I shouted. "I've been gone 2 weeks." Karen sighed theatrically. "You homeowners always say that." The officer raised an eyebrow. "Ma'am, do you have documentation?" Karen handed over a thick folder. Forged letters. Fake fines. A fraudulent lien. I didn't know that yet. All I knew was that she had paperwork, and I had nothing but disbelief. "You ruined my life," I said. She smiled wider. "No, you did that by neglecting your responsibilities." The officers told me to leave. Karen watched with satisfaction as I rolled my suitcase back to the Uber, homeless in my own neighborhood. That night I slept in a cheap hotel with my suitcase wedged against the door. I barely slept at all. I checked my bank accounts. Everything was paid. Mortgage current. HOA dues current. No missed payments. By morning I was calling lawyers. Most said it sounded like a civil dispute. One finally listened. Her name was Jessica Ramirez. She didn't interrupt. She didn't dismiss me. She asked for documents. Within an hour, her expression changed. "This isn't a mistake," she said. "This is fraud." Jessica pulled records from the county clerk. What we found was terrifying. Someone had filed notices claiming I abandoned the property. Certified letters I never received. Inspection reports I never authorized. A lien for over $15,000 in fake fines. Then a rushed sale at auction. All approved by the HOA. All signed by Karen. Jessica leaned back in her chair. "This is criminal." We dug deeper. 2 other homes in the neighborhood had been sold the same way. Both owners were out of town. One overseas. One caring for a sick parent. Karen wasn't enforcing rules. She was hunting. The real estate broker who handled the sale? Karen's sister-in-law. Email subpoenas revealed messages discussing targets and travel windows. My Thailand trip was mentioned. I felt sick. "She planned this," I said. Jessica nodded. "And she won't stop unless she's exposed." So we went public. The local news aired the story. Neighbors came forward. A former HOA treasurer revealed years of embezzlement. Police raided the HOA office. They found binders labeled with homeowner names. Mine was on top. The family living in my house was devastated. They were innocent. The sale was voided. Insurance covered their losses. And Karen, she was still denying everything. Until the meeting. Karen was mid-sentence at an HOA meeting when officers walked in. She laughed at first. Then they read the charges. Fraud, forgery, conspiracy, grand theft, money laundering. They handcuffed her in front of everyone. She screamed about property values as they led her away. No one clapped. No one helped her. My house was returned. The HOA was dissolved. Karen faces decades in prison. But I lost things I'll never get back. Photos, memories, peace. So here's my warning. If your HOA has too much power, watch them closely. Because sometimes, the person claiming to protect your home is the one planning to steal it.